What's up, everybody? Shauna D Man here, and welcome back. Hope you guys are doing great. Hope you guys are having yourselves a great weekend. We are back with a review for the first two episodes of Alien Earth that dropped earlier this week. I meant to drop this a little bit sooner, but I got busy with other uploading content, that kind of thing. So we are here to talk about Alien Earth. So first thoughts. I'm just going to just overall talk about the first two episodes. I'm not going to really do a deep dive into each individual episodes. I will do that going forward when these do weekly releases. The first two episodes dropped on the same night, so I wasn't really prepared to do something like that. So anyway, so Alien Earth. Now, when this series was first announced, I I mean, I was interested, but I was kind of like, is this really like a necessary thing? Because I think this was mentioned before. I think this was like going into development, that kind of stuff, before Alien Romulus that dropped last year. Um, and so, but when we finally got trailers for it, it actually piqued my interest. I say, okay, this looks like a very interesting series. It's dropping on FX, doing weekly releases, then going to Hulu. Um, so I was like, okay, you know what? This is pretty good. I will say it was actually quite, I guess you want to say nostalgic, or like not refreshing, but like just watching it FX and just watching like regular cable TV, watching a show, then it goes onto a commercial, then comes back with a commercial, as when television was like that back in the day. I mean, it still is, but a lot more people are watching more stuff on streaming services than actual cable television. Um, I would definitely say I like the first episode more. The second episode it's a little bit of, not a letdown, but it's just not. I don't think it's as good, and kind of like kind of just there's stuff about it. I was like, I don't really like it. So basically, um, our main character is a character named Wendy. Her real name was Macy. She was a terminally ill child. This is apparently a brand new thing that they're doing, at least with this particular person. I forgot his name. We can call him Trillionaire Boy. Um, but he runs Prodigy, which is an up and coming business that is competing with the likes of Wayland Utani. And so at the beginning of episode one, it mentions that there is cyborgs, and then there's synthetics, and then there is hybrids. So Wendy is a hybrid. She was a terminally ill child, and so they what put her consciousness in this machine or whatever. There is so many there are so many things about this series, just from watching these first two episodes, that and a lot of people have pointed it out. There are elements that they could have like played with in regards to this. So one of the things about this character Wendy is that she basically has been watching her brother. Now her brother was told that Macy, now Wendy, died, and obviously that's not the case. So she kind of has been watching him, from a distance through cameras and stuff like that. There's a scene in episode, I believe it's episode one, where her brother, whose name is Hermit, is trying to get out of his contract because he is trying to. He got a scholarship to medical school on Mars. He's trying to get out of his contract so he can go, but I think he had like 7 months left. And there's a moment where like she kind of manipulates the data of the camera, because one of the points of their relationship between Wendy and Hermit is that they love to watch Ice Age. And so it's the thing from Ice Age collision course, where it's like, um Peter Dinklage's character, he's talking about like face my furry, and then Sid is like, face your furry what? And there's a moment where like Wendy kind of like manipulates the data of the camera and says the line to him, which kind of prompts him to be like, how do you know that? I kind of wish they would have played more along, or like not played it more along. I wish they would have let it played out more in regards to their relationship, because I felt like in episode 2, how many episodes are in this season? Let's see. So there's going to be 8 episodes, and so I kind of wish it just felt like they went way into the reveal of like, oh, my sister's alive kind of thing. I didn't really like that. I wish they would have like played that out a little bit longer. It just felt so quick to do that. You could have a talking point that I've seen was that you could have like played it with the idea that no, this is like a carbon copy of her, or if it is a copy of her, it's one that has its own kind of, twist to it. Like it can't 100% replicate what Macy was. It can only like simulate it. And so, or at least something like that. They could have done more with this. Um because all it took was one of the I'll talk about them in a second, but one of the other hybrids mentioning it's like, oh, this is your sister, and kind of like wanders off. And it's kind of like, I don't really think he was the one that needed to say that. And then she kind of just tells him, right, Hermit right then and there, hey, it was episode 2. Hey, I'm your sister. And he kind of just like believes it automatically, but then he reassures it when he asks her a question regarding a particular time during Christmas, and then he automatically like, oh my God, it's you. I just wish they would have done more with that, and again, it just felt too quick for them to reveal that. I wish that is something I did not like. I think they could have just done more with it. I don't know how I really feel about, again, what Wendy is or what Prodigy is doing. Is I guess you could say it's new, because Wendy was the first test subject. So there's Wendy and a few other characters. They all basically have the names of the Lost Boys from Peter Pan. And Peter Pan is such a heavy theme in this series through these first 2 episodes. The island that they're on is called Neverland. Trillionaire Boy is reading them Peter Pan while they're ready to go to sleep. He says, "Send in the Lost Boys." Um, when Macy kind of like, or Wendy kind of like pushes like, "Hey, we need send us. We don't break. We're strong. We're fast. We can help these people." And so it's a very it's a very heavily Peter Pan theme. I don't know if that's. I mean, it has to be what they're trying to go for it to be that prominent within these first 2 episodes. Now we'll have to just see what happens with the other 6. But I don't really know, because they act like kids, and I think that's probably an issue here, because you basically sent 12-year-old, like these hybrid bodies with the minds of a 12-year-old into a dangerously zone with aliens and stuff like that, and they're obviously going to act like children. And so, and because there are moments where the way they're acting when they're encountering some of these other aliens who have somewhat gotten loose, like the one that's like it was like an eyeball alien, which I thought was pretty cool, watching it how like it just came out of the cat, even though it's like a full CGI thing. It is what it is. And then you had like this plant one that was just hanging. That had like a flower bud at the end of it, and just their curiosity, and they're acting like kids. So I guess you could give credit that, hey, they're at least playing that out. But there's I do hope there's more to come with that. I hope there's more we can like. There's not much development for those particular Lost Boy characters just yet. Now that could come down the line, but it is what it is. Um, we finally get interaction between Prodigy and Wayland Utani. Now, obviously, I believe we've mainly seen the Wayland side of things, whether it's from Alien versus Predator, Prometheus, the different Alien movies and stuff like that. But I don't think we've ever seen like the Utani side. So we get a first glimpse of Utani here, and she kind of is very she wants her cargo because the cargo that landed in Prodigy City was on it's a science vessel, was on a deep space mission. On his way back from that mission was cargo that apparently they lost a lot of people for, as mentioned as one of the crew members at the beginning of the episode. The trillionaire boy's like, no, talk to my lawyer. He'll talk to you, and we can work something out. But he definitely wants what's in what's in the ship. And so yeah, and then his logic to why he created like Wendy and these I believe these still the hybrids. It's just because like because he's bored. Like he talks about how like everybody always thinks it's about money, and he's like he wants to have a conversation with somebody that's worth having a conversation with. I don't know. I'm just kind of like that. You could have not come up with a better reason to why this person developed a technology to transport somebody's consciousness from one body to another body. That just seems really, I don't know. They could have done more with that. The scenes with the alien itself, with the xenomorph, were actually very cool. One thing I will give credit to the show is that a lot of the stuff now, obviously, like when they're outside, it's like in a volume, that kind of thing, because there's that shot when Herman and the search and rescue kind of arrive on scene after the Wayland Utani ship crashes. We see like Herman walking by. You can see like the scale size of the ship still firing its engines. Obviously, that's in the volume, but like the practical stuff looks relatively good. Probably still stuff that they use from Alien Romulus. But I will give credit where credit is due. Where the practical looks really good. The alien looks good. Like it's just like it just straight up murders people. Like it's crazy. Like how it just straight up kills people. Because I wish episode 1 revolved around the alien. Like it's like in episode 1 at the beginning, because Morrow, he's a cyborg, and there's a moment where like he's getting ready to go to sleep in his cryo tube, and they're doing these weird flashes where like it kind of shows different crew members being ultimately killed. I wish the episode would have focused more on that, kind of like what we got in the original Alien. Because how did this alien get loose? Like, did it? Well, somebody impregnated with a face hugger at some point. Like, I'm curious on what the backstory on how that happened on this ship. But because there's a very very crazy scene at the beginning where we kind of already saw it in the trailer where this may be the captain of the ship. Morrow is inside the control center talking to Mother, and she's like banging on the door, telling him to open and let her in. He goes and he welds the door shut, and she gets killed by the xenomorph. I kind of wanted to see more of that, but one of my favorite scenes in episode 2 was like after Herbert survives his encounter with the xenomorph for the first time. He runs into like a fellow search and rescue. They're trying to evacuate the floor where these guys were having like a very pompous party. And so, but Hermit comes off this elevator, and they do a shot to where they purposely show you a statue, and then like a couple of minutes later, one of the soldiers with the guns kind of like he's backing up to where the statue is, and the xenomorph is just perched right there. He is just sitting there. I love that scene. It's a very very cool scene. But yeah, I mean, overall, the first two episodes, I think I really liked episode one. I thought they had something really going with the first episode. Episode two uh was okay. There are some like nitpicky stuff about it, but overall, I mean, it's relatively good. They could have cut down on the time, like good, like over 2 hours. Like I understand it's you know, I think they could have shaved off some time. I think they could have shaved off some time to make things better. But I mean, it is what it is, I suppose. But but yeah, that's relatively it. That's my thoughts on the first two episodes of Alien Earth. I'll probably do more of a comprehensive breakdown of the future episodes, since those will just be released weekly. Um, and we'll just have to see where this series goes. Hopefully, it does. A lot of people seem to like it so far. Obviously, there's a lot of people who are not going to like it, that kind of thing. But for the majority of things that I've seen online, a lot of people really like the series, and so we'll have to just see how it goes. But guys, thank you for hanging out. Thank you for watching. If you are new to the channel, be sure you hit that like and subscribe button. Be sure you comment below. If you're watching on Rumble, be sure you follow. Check out the links down in the description below for all my other channels. But guys, thank you for hanging out. Thank you for watching, and I will see y'all in the next video. Y'all have a good one.